Man, how's it going?
It's going wonderful. It's going splendidly well. Thank you for joining.
Hey, it's an honor to be here to talk and share and get to know your audience a little better. Hope I can share a couple of nuggets to help them stay consistent and overcome whatever challenges they have.
Most definitely. Most definitely. You know, it's a pleasure having you here. I've been watching you for a while now, and it's just been a joy to see your evolution and, just seeing your impact on the world. Like you always tell us, to have a positive impact in someone's life today. And so thank you for these messages. And I wanted to learn a little bit more about you and your story here. So just once again, thank you for lending your time today and sharing your time with us.
So you're welcome. I'm all yours. If you've got questions or whatever, let me know.
Of course, of course. So, this philosophy that you have, that you've adopted, that you're also imparting through your platform, projecting these positive waves out here for the energy for others to pick up as well. It seems like you've been on this journey for quite a while, but where do you feel like it started for you, this journey here?
Well, yeah, that's good question. When I grew up in very, stereotypical Asian parents who pushed me to study hard in school, get into a good college, and then you'd be successful and you'd be all set, right? So I was never like a studious type, but my parents pushed me. They gave me some allowance money. So I just wanted allowance money to buy my toys, buy a new bicycle. And so I just studied and got into a good university. But then after I graduated, realized, hey, that's not what I wanted to do. I just wasn't, the whole time my dad was a doctor. He basically had the American dream, he was born poor, studied hard, got into med school, came here, became a doctor, became successful. So I kind of grew up upper middle class. I went to public schools, but I was always the richest kid. But I was going to take over his practice, and I just realized that's not me. I didn't like to do that. So I just worked and worked. And I was always, and I'll talk about my past, but the turning point for me was when I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad and realized I needed to work for myself. That's the turning point. When I decided myself, I got started in the direct selling profession in network marketing, and I thought it was going to have a great product. I'm hungry, but I had no clue what to do. I struggled for months. I always thought, like most people think, it is about the skills, what to say, and but really the thing that held me back for struggling for months was I had no consistency. I started to think for myself, right? Like if you're trained through the whole time, to just listen to a teacher, do what you're told, study hard, and as a job, do what you're told, work hard. But when you're an entrepreneur doing even stuff like you're doing, Jerome, by yourself, you need to be a self-motivator. And I didn't know that. I didn't know that we have to be our own boss. And if you want to be your own boss, you also got to be your own employee and stay consistent and do that. And so I struggled. And then basically the turning point was someone helped me stay consistent. I realized consistency was long story short, I was actually in New York visiting my parents, driving the cold December night, going back home. I was meeting some friends in the city, not really doing my business. And on that training call, he said that if you're not consistent, you're never going to make it. And he said, you do a little bit on Monday, take 2 or 3 days off, do it on a Thursday, take a couple of days off. And then on Sunday, you hit your job, you want to do a little bit again, go back. So you're never going to make it. And I remember I was in the driveway, I stopped and rewound that and listened to that CD. And I thought he was talking to me, And that's really the beginning of things where I started to stay consistent. And I was terrible. I didn't know how to sell. I didn't know how to prospect, didn't know how to recruit and those business skills. But if you stay consistent, you eventually will get it. And so I would talk about consistency creates mastery. And along that journey, you realize when you stay consistent, I was generating sales. I was making some sales. I was making a couple $100s a month, but I never made it yet. And the thing to answer your question was the next thing that I never knew. Okay, I wish I knew this. I do my best to teach my boys this. Is really like what you're talking about, the law of attraction, right? And people say like, well, you just sit there and you meditate and things could come to you. No, that doesn't what it means. It's like, well, you gotta have good intentions, right? If you think about what you want, it doesn't mean you get it, but thinking about what you don't want definitely guarantees you're not going to. right? So learning to the law of attraction is basically thinking positive and going out there, assuming you're going to get it. But what do you have to do to get that result? And I used to, for example, I'll share a story with you.
Yeah.
And when I couldn't close the sale, and I remember my mentor told me, "Who do you have?" I was like, "I have this person, but he's negative. He's not going to join." They're like, I don't know if he's going to pick up the phone. They're like, "You never say that." I said, "Why not?" Because if you say that, he's automatically you're not going to get the sale. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I'm there like no BS, right? Black and white, like total BS, like hocus pocus. You're meditating, you attract success to you. That's a total, piece of crap. I don't believe in that. But like, trust me. If you assume negative, you automatically get negative. And I always teach people, if you assume positive, it doesn't guarantee you success. But assume negativity will definitely guarantee you negative, right? It's like if you're selling, one of the tips to selling is people struggle. They're assuming they're scared to reach out to people because they're worried that they won't buy. If you're worried about people won't buy, they automatically won't buy. Every sales call, everything I do, I always automatically assume they will buy. Just prove me wrong. Because when you talk to someone, your attitude, your energy, right? Positivity. You can't fake that. When you're positive, your energy level is higher. Like right now, I'm getting hotter. I'm sweating a little bit because it's hotter, right? Because I'm talking. When you raise your energy, and if you're in, maybe you can feel that right now, but if you're in the room, you definitely can feel that energy. And you can feel that energy. Now, if I was down or something was bothering, you can sense that energy too, right? And when you are prospecting, whatever business you're selling, or you're leading a team, if you have something negative inside of you, first to clear that mind. Like imagine you're a phone and just hit the reset button, clear that cache. Because if you don't, people will sense that, and immediately they're gonna have doubt and fear, right? A general leading, if you're like an army captain leading your soldiers to battle, and you have fear, people can sense that. And it's like I didn't understand that, but it's like dogs, right? If you're scared of it, didn't make sense to me. Like if you're the more scared of a dog, the more they'll attack you. If you're not scared of the dog won't attack you. That's the truth. But dogs can sense fear. And it's just like often, Jerome, we can sense if someone's lying to us or something's wrong, the way someone acts, we can feel that energy. And it's the same thing, and you apply it to business. People can sense it. People can sense that. And I'll share a funny story with you.
Okay.
My mentor first came, right? He was really hardcore. I lived in a tiny apartment in Santa Monica, on Bundy Drive in LA. And I remember I was prospecting. He's all serious. So I was going to take him to the beach. He was from Texas. Take him nice to eat. He's like, no, let's go get to work. Let's go make some sales. And then we're sitting there. He's intense. Like, what's your Wi-Fi password? We're recruiting. And then, I'm tired as heck. I need a nap. And he's tired. But I don't want to hey, you know what, Steve, I got to go take a nap. Because I want to, this is the first time I ever met in person. We talked on the phone. We never met in person. Making impressions. And then he's like, you know what? And I'm like, he's like, I'm going to take a nap. I was like, if he takes a nap, man, I can take a nap too, right? So he's like, you know what? I want to take a nap. And then when I wake up, and before then, I'm like, Steve, I really need a nap. It's so hard to get sales. This week is not a good week. And he's like, stop. If you say that, it's not going to be a good week. Stop saying that. I was like, come on. I don't believe that hocus pocus stuff. He's like, trust me. If you're negative, you can get negative results. So anyway, he's tired. He's like, you know what? I'm going to take a quick nap. And I needed these 2 big sales. And we were a package. We saw like a professional package, which was like $1,400 package. And he's like, and I'm barely selling $300 packages. He's selling $1,400 packages, right? Of course, the commissions are more. So he's like, you know what? I'm just going to take a nap right now. And then when I wake up, I'm just going to get 2 sales. I'm going to get 2 professional package sales. Watch, this is going to, I'm like, you're so full of it, right? Come on, okay? Trust me. And then he goes take a nap, and you know what? And I go take a nap. So I take a power nap. I wake up. I feel a little bit better. And then he wakes up, and he's checking his phone. He's like, oh crap! I missed 2 calls. Darn it! And he's checking the voicemail. And he's like, hey Simon, check this out. He plays on speaker. And he's like, hey Steve, I'm just calling you back. I'm ready to get started with the professional package. Please call me back right away. I'd like to get started by tonight. I'm like, oh my goodness! I am doing something wrong, right? So it is really about the feeling, the positivity. I'll give you a lesson about how I learned about this.
Okay.
Is it okay to share the story? Because I know I wasn't even planning to share this. It was related.
Yeah, it's perfect.
I remember I was going for some type of sales bonus, and I started the week. So the sales bonus deadline was on a Friday night, right? And so I started the week with have a potential to hit this bonus. So at that time, my mentor, I wanted to expand the Mexico market, the Latino market, and he sent me this guy. His name was Francisco Guzman, and I still remember his name. Maybe he's even watching this, but this is like 20 years ago. And so I was like, hey, this guy wants to buy a package. Go, you can sign him up, and you can expand to Mexico. I'm like, awesome. I called this person, and it's like, the number you dialed is no longer in service.
Oh.
I called a couple of times. The number you dialed is no longer in service. So I say, hey, you know what happened? The line is disconnected. He said, oh, don't worry about that guy. So he just emailed me back saying he's not interested. All right, okay, he's not interested. Maybe disconnected his phone, but he doesn't want to talk to us. Okay, whatever. So throughout the week, I remember I talked to this one guy. He was a trainer, and his name was Derek. And he was out in San Diego. And my mentor said, you know what? I talked to this guy. I can't get him to get started. And maybe you can leverage your sports background, because I used to work for the NBA. So talk about your sports and stuff. Maybe you have something in common. You can get him to get going. And I was like, all right. So I called this guy. I had a great conversation with him, right? I say, hey, you want to take a look at the information? We'll get you started tomorrow. I said, all right, good. Call me back at this time. The next day, I called him. He didn't pick up. I sent him an email. He did not reply back. So I'm like, okay, whatever. It happens all the time to me. But I've been, people just freak out. So anyway, I'm on a roll. I keep prospecting. And then on Friday, I was like, I actually have a chance. I have other sales coming in. I have a chance to hit this bonus. So I'm like, I got to call everyone. I'm looking at my prospect list. Anyone that I ever talked to, I'm going to give a call. It's like you're swinging for the fences. You may hit a home run. If you don't, whatever. I got a sales bonus. I got a couple of these sales. I get it. So I'm calling. And I'm going to call that trainer. And I got him on the phone. He's actually here. Right? So I said to him, and I learned something. I said, are you ready to get started? He's like, yeah, but I just don't have the money. And it was like he wanted to get started with a $700 package. He didn't have it. So I learned something from a sales book that says you break it down, right? If you're selling something for $700, that seems like a lot of money, but you break it down. You break it down to, and to something like a daily amount is really cheap. And you may have seen this before, like it's less than, sometimes you have a subscription. It says less than the price of a cup of coffee, right? So right. I said to him, Derek, do you believe this business can help you make a lot of money? He's like, yeah. So I just don't have the money, Simon. So if you work hard in 2 years, do you think you make a pretty decent amount of money? So you definitely, I just don't have the money to start. So aside from the money, is there anything holding you back? Say, no, I just don't have the money though, Simon. So I said, well, let me ask you something. How many days are in a year? He's like 365, right? Something like that, right? So how many days are in 2 years? Like 700 something. I said, well, Derek, are you willing to invest just $1 a day for the next 2 years so that you never have to work again?
Wow.
And he's like,
you broke it down. Yeah.
And then he was like, you're right. Let me go get my credit card. And I got him like that. He gave me a credit card. So I'll tell you, I got started. When I got that sale, I was so excited because I said to myself, this is when I was I'm better than my mentor. My mentor couldn't deal with this guy. He was like, the guy was giving me, and I was able to get him. I learned something from the sales book. I applied and I got it. I was like, yes, I'm so good. So I ended up calling a couple of people, leaving messages. And then there was a little break. It was like a weird time zone at 4 o'clock Pacific, eating dinner. So I'm going to go to the gym. So I go gym, I lift weights, and I'm fired. I'll go run. I'm fired up. And then when I work out, I'm even more excited, right? So I go there. And I come back, and then my mentor's like, hey, you know what? Congrats on the sign up. You're pretty good. Go follow these leads. I couldn't get hold of them. Maybe you can sign them up too. Maybe you can make some sales. So I'm on fire. I feel like, hey, I'm even better than my mentor. I'm just starting out making a couple $100. This guy's made like multiple 6 figures, but I'm better than him because I can sign up this guy that he couldn't sign up. Right? I can make the sale. So I'm like positive energy overload, like exploding. I'm like, go. So I call this guy, Francisco G, right? Francis G, Fran G. I call him, and we talked. He was from he's from Alaska. He had a beard and straight. So the phone line cut in and out a little bit because he used a satellite phone at that time. He didn't have the landline. He lived in a really rural part of Alaska near the North Pole. So we talked for like 15 minutes, and I made the sale.
Nice.
I was like, oh my, a couple of exposures. I am on fire. So anyway, I signed a couple people. Long story short, I didn't get the sales bonus because one credit card failed. But here's the big kicker. So I made a whole bunch of sales, and then normally you have to follow up with these people, right? So Monday morning, I'm following up, and one of the people I follow up with is Fran G, right? A friend. I was like, wait a second. And then, on Monday, I'm like, I'm not on that euphoria, the high anymore, right? My energy is lower. I was like, wait a second. And sometimes when you're excited, you're not really thinking. But on Monday, I'm back to even, and I'm thinking, this guy sounds familiar.
Mm-hmm.
And this was probably one of the biggest lessons I ever learned, business. That Fran G turned out to be the same guy, Francisco Guzman, that I called early in the week that had the disconnected phone line.
Same guy.
Now, let me ask you this. I was in such a high positive energy. I didn't even, when I was calling those names, because my mentor just sent me the initials. He didn't send me the full name. He just gave me the number. But I was just so excited because I signed up that trainer. I didn't even realize it was the same person.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, if I knew it was the same person that disconnected his phone and also emailed us saying that he's not interested, do you think I would have been able to sign him up? Do you think I would have made a sale? No way, right? And that was when my biggest aha moments was, hey, it's all about your pod. I was such an emotional excitement. I didn't even know it's the same person. I called someone that had emailed us, disconnected his phone to avoid us, and he connected his phone again. And it turned out that he didn't disconnect it. It was because when it's cloudy there, the storm, storm connects. That's why we got the numbers no longer in service. But I was such a euphoria that I didn't even connect it to, and I just thought he was someone else.
Wow.
I knew that if I had known it was the same person, I'll never want to make that sale.
Wow.
Because my energy would have been different. Right? I would have like low energy instead of like excitement. The energy came from because I got that trainer.
Right.
Listen, it's like, you know, your positivity doesn't guarantee success, but negativity definitely guarantees failure. So I mean, I'm sharing that story. Hopefully your audience hears that. It's a lot is up here. And before you make any sales or anything you want to do, I always teach my boys, first thing you do is you visualize success. Think twice. First in the mind and then reality, right? Even for us to be on this interview, you visualized it, maybe way back, you asked me, I visualized it, and I saw myself being on it. If we didn't visualize ourselves being on here, I'll be doing something else, you'll be doing something else. But things always happen twice, first in the mind and then in reality.
Yes, yes. Wow. Thank you, Simon. Like you are just electrified, you know, the energy that you have and the energy that you project for these things and these life lessons that you were able to take from your business and just coming into as well, like network marketing and getting people signed up and learning from this. I love your baseball analogies as well, like swinging for the fences, you know, as you might hit a home run, you might not, you know, but at least you keep swinging, you know, you keep going. And are these some of the things that, like you said, you're teaching your boys as well, your sons, when it comes to baseball? What are some of the life lessons that you get from the game?
Well, I like baseball because it's a game where you don't have much success, right? Like if you hit 3 out of 10, you're making millions of dollars. That means you fail 7 out of 10 times. And it's basically a lesson about life, right? It's okay to strike out. I was telling my son just then, he didn't have the best attitude, right? He's just swinging weak. Because I don't care if you miss. You're missing the strikeouts, okay, but not having a good attitude, you won't get punished for that. You get 3 strikeouts. If you have a great attitude, no worries. But I know if you have a good attitude, you keep going. Eventually, you're gonna have success.
Right.
Life, right? Like life is like not as smooth. My day wasn't smooth. Your day wasn't. Things happen. What are you gonna do? Just go. It's over. You gonna quit or you gonna come bounce back and get ready? I always teach my sons. You know what's the most important pitch? The most important pitch is the very next pitch.
Ooh.
Right? You're a pitcher. You throw a ball. You start thinking about the bad pitch you threw. You know you're screwed for the next pitch. You got the very next pitch. The most important pitch is the very next pitch. If you're the batter, it's the same thing. You're a batter. You just swung and missed. You keep thinking about the swing. You're gonna be missing out on the next one. The next one, you kind of like press the reset button, and then hey, I'm focusing on the next pitch.
Right.
For memory, and that's really like life is because most of the time, a lot of times we don't get what we want. We have setbacks. You know. We all fail. What determines success is how quickly you can bounce back from your setbacks.
And it seems like, you know, Simon, like you've learned a lot about the mind as well. You know, I know you were talking energetically about, you know, the law of attraction and putting out that positive energy. It reminds me of Norman Vincent Peale, you know, the power of positive thinking. And then I know that you've listened to different people as well, like Jim Rohn, you know, these great, powerful, like motivational speakers. But what did you learn about, I guess, the subconscious mind and the way that it kind of rules our world? Like when you talk about the way that we think and how it doesn't understand no, it only understands yes.
Yeah, the subconscious mind is everything. I mean, the best way to explain the subconscious mind is, if you got to have a go intention and belief in the subconscious mind, right? That's the power that, it's kind of the best way to explain it. It's like the subconscious is an elephant, right? If you go to a circus, you have a big elephant that's really strong, that can throw logs around, and they have the little tiny trainer telling them what to do, right? Who has the power? The elephant has the raw power, strength, right? Conscious mind. But the subconscious mind, without any direction, can go crazy. It's the little trainer that tells them what to do.
Right.
A lot of us, we forget about the elephant. It's a conscious mind. I want to do it, I want it, but subconscious mind, you're all messed up. You're thinking about your negative. You're thinking about all the past bad stuff that's happened, right? And often, if the conscious mind, once you set a go, just let the subconscious do its work. And the best way example is driving, right? We all go, maybe you went to the grocery store, maybe you went to run some errands. When you go home, you're not thinking how to go back home.
No.
Right? You're just autopilot. That's your subconscious mind working. If you don't understand, that's the best example. Your subconscious mind taking you from where you are to back home. Right? And you may be thinking about work, you may be thinking about your loved ones, you may be thinking what's on TV or whatever, your books you read, but you're not thinking about actually driving, and all of a sudden you end up there.
Right.
That's the subconscious mind. It's not thinking, but all of a sudden you're there. Because you may be listening to podcasts, whatever, but you get home because of the subconscious mind. And I'll tell you an example when it interferes, right? There's a lot of times when you're driving, this is maybe before GPS, right? Before the phones use GPS. You know a way to go, but then you ever said, maybe that's not good. Let me try this other way. And that's your conscious mind coming. You overthink, and you always end up screwing up. Right? Or you take an exam. How many times you had the right answer, and you overthink it, and you start changing. Your conscious mind starts interfering, and you change the right answer to the wrong answer.
Yeah, my friends used to say this all the time. They said, like, if you overthink it, you can't sink it. And I remember hearing a quote from Bruce Lee, if you think too much about a thing, you'll never get it done. So that's also kind of that factors into that baseball where, as you say, consistency is like the DNA of mastery and repetition is the mother of skill. Every time, I guess, you're practicing at bat and you're doing it over and over and over again, it gets so far into your subconscious mind that when the right ball comes, you just swing, you just hit it. You don't think about it, because if you're thinking about it,
Yeah, that's like a great analogy you brought to the baseball. Right? It's like kind of like if you're driving, a car cuts you off, you immediately press brake. You're not thinking about it. That's your subconscious coming in. Right. Immediately start working, right? Baseball, same thing. Like people struggle in sports or shooting basketball. I used to play basketball, right? College basketball. If you think about, I got to shoot the ball this way, you're always going to miss the ball. Yeah. Right? Right? It's when you just let it flow. That's when you're in the zone. People are in the zone. It's because that's your subconscious mind working.
So what do you feel like, when it comes to establishing that consistency? Because I feel like with people, there's a lot of imposter syndrome that we allow to stop us from even putting ourselves out there to be seen on these platforms, even if we have a story, even if we want to, speak our truth and raise our voice in this way. What stops people from reaching that tipping point where they have the momentum that's just rolling on its own? Like you definitely have the momentum where you're just rolling, you're not even the law of least effort. Now you could just do 5 minutes a day and it's like, you're already continuing.
Well, there's a couple of things. First of all, every master was a disaster. So if you look at it, I mean, my first pep talks, they weren't that good. But one of the keys to consistency is you need a system. You need a routine. Like, if you're watching this, we're all consistent. You're consistent, I'm consistent, but maybe not as average you want. But like, for example, I always joke, you're consistent. You take a bath every day. You take a shower every day, right, Jerome? It's probably, and a couple of things about that is probably a routine. Whether you shower first thing in the morning or shower at night or shower multiple times in a day, right? You shower at consistent times. If you make your coffee, you'll make your coffee at consistent time. You meditate, it's probably a consistent time. If you exercise consistently, it's around a consistent time, same time. Right, so anything you want to do, you got to go create your schedule, make it the same time. That's why I do my pep talks at 5:25 a.m. I'm in LA. It's 5:25 a.m. in the morning. It's not the best time for me, but really it is the only time I can go consistently with good energy. Because if I do it later on in the day, my energy is not good. If I do it later at night, my kids come in or stuff like that, or I got other events. So before they wake up at 5:25 a.m. my time, and which is 8:25 in the East Coast, right? That's the best time. That's why I choose that time. So that's number one. Create the time and stick to a routine.
Okay.
And already your routine, create that routine. The second thing is if you want to post, you don't need to be, in terms of getting over imposter syndrome, that's because you're thinking about, all these people looking at me. Just focus on providing value, helping.
Yeah.
So even right now, I didn't know how many people are watching, whatever. My focus, hey, I'm going to provide value to Jerome and maybe one other person who's on, whoever's on. It doesn't matter if 20 people, 100 people, 1,000 people, I'm just going to provide value. And if one life gets touched, then that's good. So, and that would decrease a lot of nervousness, right? Because I'm thinking, oh my God, 10,000 people. I got to get ready. How am I going to look? What's the lighting? And then all of a sudden you start overthinking. You don't get, just like one person. I'm going to share my pep talks. Like, this is topic helpful with a lot. Some people may not like it, or do they really? Hey, if one person gets value, that's my motivation. That gets me going. Okay, if I have one person, that's good enough. Let's go hit publish and post.
I love that. Just one person, is all it takes. And I love how you address the people
even
that
one person. You have one person's life get better. You inspire one person, right? And which is better than not doing it, and then you help no one.
Right. And I love how you address, the people that watch as well. Like you actually, that was one of the things that drew me in when I first saw you, Simon, was, you actually looked, you saw our name, and you responded. Like you said, hey, good morning, great day to you. Like, good day. Like, hey, how's it going? How you doing today? And where are you coming from? Tell us where you're coming from. Stuff like that, and addressing your audience, really including us in this, so we feel like a part of it, like we're in here with you. And that really increased the vibration. And also, when it comes to learning more about consistency, I know I saw you recently with Obi, right? You were reading a book next to Obi, and you said that a catalyst for you was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So when it comes to consistency, what have been the catalysts with the books that you've read that really have infused that in your mind as well?
That's a good question. I'm actually coming out with my own book in the next couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
Right, what is coming out? But in terms of, and the reason I came out with that book, because there haven't been many books about consistency, really, about that. So in terms of things that help me out, that's a good question. I think it's a combination of things, like the Success Principles by Jack Canfield, right? Like Jim Rohn stuff, right? Like a lot of Jim Rohn sayings, teach you about consistency, time management books. Learn to block off time. Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Yes.
That's very, very good. Yeah, I mean, I think there's not one specific book, but it's just a combination of years of personal development, time management books that just made me realize that, hey, if you look at everyone who's successful, they're all very consistent. You look at a lot of people like the deadly word of potential, but never made it, it's because they were not consistent.
And the way you read books, Simon, like, a couple of books that changed my life were definitely like The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. That changed everything for me when it came to understanding that it was like, it said there are no straight lines, there are only curves, and we're either curving upward or we're curving downward. We're never like static or staying still.
Yeah, yes. And then, by the way, that's another book, that influenced me for consistency. Slight Edge and the Compound Effect.
Yeah, the Compound Effect.
If you see every day, I always say success is invisible. You can't see it, but you're getting a little bit better. You can see it, but it's like, I think Jeff Olson used an example, like, a plane takes off in LA and there's 1 degree more. They all go into New York. One will end up in New York, the other one will end up in Pennsylvania.
Right.
It's just 1 degree off. And you do every day. And the compound effect works both ways too, unfortunately. Like, you do something every day, you get a lot better. You don't do something every day, you get a lot worse.
Yeah. I think, was it Albert Einstein said it's like the 8th wonder of the world. He who knows it earns it. He who doesn't pays it.
Yeah.
Like, so, when it comes to the way that you read books, Simon, would you say that you clear through the whole book from cover to cover, or do you just get certain tidbits that are of value to you and then you close the book and go execute? Like, how do you read books?
I used to be the type that read cover to cover. I highly encourage you don't do that. I think that's from school mentality. Some books are not worth it. Some books are great, you should. Some books are not. What I've done was I took it years ago. One of the best things I did, I went through a speed reading course. It was actually a book, speed reading by, I forgot the name. I should have it. But it's a pretty popular book on Amazon. I think that written like in the 40 years ago. And I took the time to do the exercises. So I read pretty quickly. I'm looking for the main points. And If it's boring, I put it down. Right? Skip it. So it's really, it's not about how many books you read. It's really about how many things you implement.
Okay.
Right. So I have someone that's made over $30 million, maybe more than that now by now, right? In network marketing. He doesn't even read books. He never finishes it. But what he does, he reads a book, he sees one thing, they say, oh, and then he puts the book down, he never reads it again, but he makes sure he implements that within 30 days.
Wow.
And then he goes to the next book and finds one thing, puts it down, he implements 30 days. And just think about that. Every year, he implements 12 new things. We're talking about a compound effect, and he's been doing that for like 20-something years, almost 30 years.
Wow.
Right? Implement. He gets a little bit of improvement. One thing, implement. So, and that's something I had to learn. I felt uncomfortable. I felt it was a waste of money, but not finishing a book. Then I realized your time is valuable. Some books you don't need to read. It's about what you implement. Some of the most unsuccessful people I know in business are ones who are very well read. Mm-hmm. You know, some of the most successful people I know, it sounds weird, but it's like sacrilegious almost. They don't read that much, but they may read only a couple of books, but they implement everything out of that book, right? So they may take a Jeff Olson Slide Edge book or like Atomic Habits, and there may be 40 things they implement. They implement all 40 things, and they may not read another book for a couple of years, but they have advanced themselves so much by taking action on it. And I think that's a problem nowadays, where there's so much free content. We're just learning, but never taking action.
Right, right. So thus the focus lies, you're saying, on the implementation. You know, making sure you execute on the idea and don't just try to soak up and absorb all the ideas. Like, make sure that you at least put one into action.
Right, because knowledge isn't power. Mm-hmm. Knowledge is actually worthless. It's applied knowledge that's power. Okay. Right, applied knowledge. You know, if knowledge was the key, then everyone would be millionaires, because everything you want to learn is on YouTube. Mm-hmm. Right, but it's not. It's what you implement, and it goes back to the mindset. Maybe you have some rejection. Maybe you have things that don't work out. How can you keep going even when things don't go well?
Yeah, nice. Thank you so much for that insight. You know, I really appreciate that, and I know that folks do as well. Like, it's very valuable to know, because there are so many people, myself included, who have been in that school of thought. Like you said, it's like back to school thinking. Thinking of needing to go cover to cover, needing to clear the whole thing, and not really executing those few ideas that you get from it, but having the thought like, oh, I have to read it. Like, I haven't read the book if I haven't read the whole book, thinking that it doesn't qualify.
Well, the reality is, it's about the business, about speed. Money like speed, the speed of implementation. Right? So you say you're two people, you're reading the whole book, and another person, just say your competitor, read chapter 2, found something, and implemented it, that your competitor's ahead of you already. Way ahead of you. And it's not about the, and think about it, in the book, and this is something being like writing a book. I've learned a lot about the book industry. Like most books, their main ideas, you can basically put it in 10, 20 pages. Right? The main ideas. If you have to sum up a Cliff Notes, put it in there. But obviously they can't make it a book 20 pages and charge $10 or $15 for it. So they got to draw it out, put stories and stuff like that. But if you take all that stuff, you basically, you're not reading for pleasure. If you're reading for pleasure, that's one thing. If you're reading to make money, implement, you're just looking for the one key idea, and let's implement right away.
Mm-hmm. And so before we go, would you like to touch on your book that you're coming out with? Is that okay for you to touch on that, for you to let us know what it's going to be?
Yeah, it's mainly about consistency. For those who struggle consistency, the book will help you stay consistent and overcome a lot of the negative doubts, thoughts, all those obstacles that prevent you from being consistent.
Okay, awesome. And I know that you always give people the opportunity to put down book and get the quote book that you have, for all the days in the year, that like it has all the quotes in there on consistency as well.
Yes, absolutely. So if you want to reach out to me, best way to reach out to me, you can reach out to me on Instagram or Facebook, or so if you message me, I'll send you a link to download the free copy of that quote book.
Awesome. Simon Chan, thank you so much for coming on today.
Yeah, you're welcome, Joe. I appreciate you. I appreciate you for being on the Pep Talk. It's great to connect. And I feel like I know you pretty well just for seeing you online all the time. But hey, keep up doing the great work. You're doing good stuff too. I was checking out your profile. You're giving lots of value out there as well. So I appreciate you, brother. Anyway, gotta run. Appreciate your own. If you want, anyone who's watching this want to connect, just send me a message, and I'd love to get to know you better. I appreciate you, Ron. And remember, everyone, go out there, take whatever you learned today, take action on it, and go out there, have a positive impact on someone's life. God bless you all.
God bless. Take care. Awesome. Wonderful. Wonderful being. Wow. Wow. That was awesome. Sheesh. So much energy. Wow. 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 Yeah, I'm definitely going to be going back through this and checking it out once again. Y'all definitely go follow Simon Chan. He's the consistency coach, and he's been doing it for a while. He's a veteran in the game. And I remember him saying, you know, one of the best things or the best compliments he's ever received is on his consistency, that you just kept going, you know, you just kept going, you remain consistent. So as he says, make a positive impact on somebody's life today, and you can do it. You have that power within you. So take care, have a wonderful day, enjoy the rest of it, and we will keep shining. Much love.